We're here today with the lovely and wonderful multi-instrumentalist, multi-talented songwriter Ryan Burns.
Woo.
From Ryan Burns and the Vocal Ghosts. And he is here promoting his multi-platinum album.
Yeah.
It should be a multi-platinum album.
Seriously?
Let's put it that way.
It's
And-
diamond, actually.
Okay. Diamond Platinum
Please excuse
album.
myself.
Static here.
Yeah.
But before we get into all the juicy details, we have to do a little bit of an intro, as we always do. So hi, I'm Adela.
And I'm Dan.
And you're listening to another episode of the Underbelly Hours.
In my basement.
Pew.
Take off your coat, stay a while!
Like listening to new music? Want to know a band before they get popular? Tune into the Underbelly Hours, Sunday nights at 6 p.m. on WRSE 88.7 FM, and discover the best of local, unsigned musicians. Don't miss out on the next big thing.
Hello, everybody! It's going to be a great episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Can't wait to get down to the fantastic interview that we have planned for today. But first, you know what we got to do. We have to do the little shout out, the music that we've been listening to this week. There's been a lot of new music being released in the past couple of weeks because it's summertime. And that's when Chicago seems to come alive and just people release new music like crazy. I know that you have one very special song that you want to give a shout out to.
I'm going to splurge on that, so
Okay,
I'll let you go first.
I'll go first. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
The song I want to give a special shout out to, I wish I could give a whole shout out actually to the playlist that I did on Wednesday for the Underbelly review, because that was mostly new music released for the summertime. There's summertime vibes, there's kind of the playlist theme. But one of the songs that really stuck out to me was Ruby Gold Smoke's new song, Somebody Wants Your Love. It's got like a really cool classic R&B sound to it. It's reminding me of like lounging on a beach in the summertime and like the sun setting in the background. It's very romantic.
Have you ever been to the beach?
I have been to the beach.
During summertime? With the sunset?
2 years ago.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Maybe
I mean, she was
2 or
lying
3.
before
That's true.
about having an apple. So
I was.
I feel like I need to keep her on her toes now.
I am notorious for actually doing some white lies to try and fit in with the cool kids. But I've actually done this before.
Hey.
So it's been really fun.
You're living life.
I am living life, and I'm also living life by listening to Ruby Gold Smoke. Their vocals are incredible. Husband and wife duo. They both complement each other's voices really well. It's a super chill, groovy song, perfect for summer cruising. Somebody Wants Your Love. Check it out right here on the podcast.
You don't know me, but you see me every day. Have no idea how I feel around your way. You'll grow old, baby, they don't understand you, but I do. I'm right in front of your kiss you on your neck, let your dress hit the floor. Yeah. Baby, you got a glow, and I love it. I kiss your lips, taste your soul, let me touch it. Take you from the shower to the bed to the floor. Let me give you everything you've been waiting for. Did it make you feel like you never felt before? I ain't talking about a night, I'm talking forevermore. Yes, baby, you got a glow, and I love it. Yeah. I kiss your lips, taste your soul, let me touch it.
Somebody wants your love.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Somebody wants your love. Somebody wants your love. Somebody wants your love. Somebody wants your love.
Somebody wants
Somebody wants your love. Somebody wants your love. Somebody wants your love. I hope you make the right choice. I hope you make the right choice. 'Cause I'm right here. I hope you make the right choice. 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 'Cause I'm right here. I hope you make the right choice. I hope you make the right choice. Somebody wants your love. Somebody wants your love. Somebody wants your love.
Want your love.
Somebody wants your love.
I know.
Somebody wants your love.
I know what you
Somebody
need.
wants your love.
I know what you
Somebody
want.
wants your love. Somebody wants your love.
So Dan, what song do you want to shout out this week?
Well,
Well,
in case you didn't know, which if you didn't know, then you're a loser.
all right.
I'm kidding. Not really. But Pino Farina of the Pino Farina Band just put out a new single called Run Out. And he also just performed a phenomenal solo set at the Hey Nani music venue in Arlington Heights. Hey Nani is a rather new...
Like 2 years old or so.
Yeah, music venue that has really done a lot to put original songwriters up on the main stage and give them their due, which is really cool to see. We're going to have the manager of that venue on in August, so that will be fun. But yeah, I was able to catch that show. I was lucky enough to snag one of the last GA tickets.
Because it's sold out, right?
It sold out. This
Wow.
this mofo sold out the house, and rightfully deservedly so. Yes, I said that right. Because this man's phenomenal, and it was an amazing time, wonderful night, and he brought up his band at the end, and they're amazing guys too, and they rocked out this new song called "Run Out." It's a bop, as Demi would say on Local Chaos. It's a bop. It's a jam, and so yeah, here it is right now, coming at you. "Run Out" by the Pino Farina Band.
Don't you run out of love on me, see it's faded.
It's always hard because England always riots whenever they win or lose. So anyway!
I want them both to lose.
Yeah.
Can we make that happen in a soccer game? Can they both lose? Can we?
That'd be great.
Can both teams just be so like belligerently bad, or like take way too many dives that it's like, all right, we're done.
Well, it's just like WWE where another team storms
Yeah.
the field and takes the belt.
Yes.
That would be
Denmark comes from the
Yeah.
Raptors.
Denmark of all.
They all got baseball bats.
Oh my god. Now
And then there's that
would
one
be
guy
a
with the
show.
cricket bat because he's just the hipster of the group.
That's true. Anyway. And now we're here. After all that lovely music, I hope that you guys, after listening to those songs, by the way, also go ahead and follow the bands on social media.
Ruby Gold and the Pinot Farina band. Go check
Is
them out right now.
correct. Another person that you should be following right now, and if you haven't yet, pause the
Then
video
you're a loser.
and go follow him and then come back to the podcast, is Ryan Burns from Ryan Burns and the Vocal Ghosts. Hello, how are you doing
Hi.
today?
I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that you have a striped shirt because you have a song called Hey Navigator, and it makes me think of nautical
Oh,
things.
yeah.
I don't know if
I
that was
did. When
on
I got
purpose.
this, I would call it my pirate shirt.
That's fitting.
Yeah.
Have you broken any girls' hearts named Brandy before on a Western Bay?
No. Can't say I do.
Okay.
She's a fine girl,
Whiskey
though.
every day.
Fine
She does
girl.
He knows
whiskey,
Brandy,
yeah,
though,
she is
you
a fine
know.
girl.
There you
She
go.
is a fine girl.
In any case, welcome to the show. It's
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me.
We've been like following your music and chatting with you for a little bit now, but we haven't yet had the opportunity to have you come on the show. So this is very exciting.
It's all Adela's fault.
It is not my fault. I keep putting too many things on the schedule, but
I was joking.
well, it's not. I'm kind of a little bit of a klutz, but your first I can't do this right.
I just imagine you like tripping over calendars,
That's true.
and like you said you were a klutz. I'm like, oh, that's a weird way to describe.
Yeah.
You just trip over the pages and you're like, oh man,
I'm just tripping through the days,
Opens your
really.
Google calendars.
just trips right away. It's like,
Piles
who's
of
on the schedule?
calendars
Oh!
on the floor.
That's true. In any case, we have to do a little icebreaker game with you, Brian.
Ooh.
That is the custom here on the Underbelly Hours. I was thinking of either I don't know which one you want to do today, Dan. We can either do the rapid fire game, because he does have a new album out.
yes, he has enough material for
He
us to
does.
actually do the rapid fire game.
Enough material, or we can do the,
The
the game that we keep forgetting, the synthesis game.
synthesis game.
Yes.
What-
Which one would you like to do today?
Let's go. Let's go synthesis.
Synthesis.
I feel like I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like none
it's
of
a
us
good
are on
way.
point right now to do a rapid fire. Like,
That's
let's
true.
think really quick
it's
about.
it's too
Yeah,
like
it's a
dreary
little-
outside right
yeah,
now.
it's rainy. It's wet. It's cloudy. It's a little. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But what will cheer us up is learning about how you would describe your music in some random, weird, unconventional ways.
Non-musical ways, because we
Okay.
get tired of being like, "Oh my god, who's your influence?
What's your genre?
What's your genre?" No, we're gonna
Indie
ask
alternative.
Okay.
you 3 questions.
Alternative.
One,
indie.
two, three.
They're
questions about your music in non-musical terms, and at the end of it, we're gonna ask the listeners to picture all of your answers in their head while we play the first track of the night from Ryan Burns and the Vocal Ghosts. Are you ready, Ryan?
I'm ready.
All right, cool.
I don't
All
know
right.
if I'm ready after that.
You ruined his concentration, Dan.
I thought it would be a good little intro. You know, that's where the title screen comes across, and it's like synthesis game.
Game.
You know,
Golden ring.
Josh, you can do that in the edit, right?
That'll take a lot of time.
No, he just put me off.
Mm-hmm.
So first question: Are you taking it, or am I?
You can take it. Go ahead.
All right. If your music was a beverage of any sorts, it could be an alcoholic beverage, or it could be a brew of a different variety, like a tea, maybe some
Coffee.
herbal blend, or some coffee,
Coffee.
or it could be a what is this?
Perrier.
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 It could be a little French. French.
Mm-hmm.
Je m'appelle.
In any case, what would your beverage of choice be? I think, okay, someone's putting on the album. They're sitting down with a cup of what?
Yes.
Listen to the album.
That's a good question. Let's see. I'd probably say that it is a hard cider. It's kind of got like your down home everyday glass of beer, but maybe a little bit to the left, a little sweeter, some weird, more fun influences.
Mm-hmm. I like
There's-
that.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of.
What's your favorite hard cider?
So there's this apple-based winery up in Wisconsin called Apple True.
Nice.
There's this orchard that it's attached to called Brighton Woods that has like 100 or more varieties of apples.
Mm.
Oh.
And then they have like this apple winery, and they have this one cider called Siskin Scrumpy.
It's a good name.
I like it,
Yeah, it's a funked cider or something. It's a little bit funky, sweet. It's delicious.
Shout out for Apple True for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. Kidding. We're not sponsored by anybody.
But
except
we
for
could be.
us. Yeah.
We could be.
We could be. Apple True.
Yeah.
I do love me some apples. I've been apple picking once.
So hard cider.
Yeah.
All right.
But like primo, like classy hard cider.
Yeah.
Not your Reds or your Angry Orchards.
Angry Orchard has its place.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
But
no Reds?
But there's a but in there. But he wants a more
Yeah,
elevated
he wants
hard cider.
the
The Apple Winery hard cider.
scabby, scurvy, scabby,
Scrumpy.
scrumpy.
Yeah.
I don't think y'all want to be drinking a scurvy hard cider.
I don't know what people are into these days.
That's true. All right. So question number 1, the answer was hard cider. Question number 2. Let's see. Here.
It's all you.
It is all me.
What you gonna do?
I'm gonna ask a question, and the question is gonna be: if your music was
If it doesn't end in you.
the soundtrack to any movie of your choice, what do you think? Which movie do you think your music would like fit super well into?
An existing movie?
Actually, should we have him make up his own? I think existing movie.
Whatever
Or-
you like. If you think it would fit a movie that does not yet exist yet, and you need to now get funding from some,
from our listeners.
Yeah.
they ain't got enough money. I'm
That's
talking about
true.
some crazy trust fund baby in LA to fund your movie. And you have to direct this.
It's the 5-year plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. True. Yeah. So whatever way you want to interpret it.
Well, I'll go with existing movie. And I'm going to vamp for a little bit until I can think of the answer. But
As we do.
Yeah.
As we do here.
It's the best skill to learn is vamping. Yeah.
Yeah. So my mother was a hamster. And my father smelt of elderberries. In case you didn't know.
Oh. Fresh or spoiled elderberries?
I refuse to answer.
No, but movie, I would say. Let's see. I'm trying to remember what my music sounds like. Is first step.
Fair enough.
I always have that problem too.
So now I have to remember movies.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go with something that like feels right.
Black Widow.
No.
I'm just gonna say this, and it's not. I don't think it actually works, but it's just the first movie that's popping in my head because I just watched it. Is The Jerk?
No, I can see that. I can see some of the
see
songs
that.
working in there.
It's just a very like it could not be made today.
No.
For several reasons, but there's like some country scenes in there that some of my music would fit in. there's some just like weird out there stuff that happens.
Such a
Some
classic
sweet
movie.
moments. It's
Yeah.
great. I love it.
I don't think like any comedy movie before like 2010 could be made today.
There's a lot.
I mean, has there been? Sorry, little digression. Has there been like a good comedy movie that's come out in the past 10 years?
I don't even watch comedy
Tropic Thunder.
movies. Tropic Thunder?
I don't think that was. I think that was before 2010 too. Yeah.
I watch like stand up now. I don't even bother.
Like I can't remember the
seeing
last
comedy
like
films.
sensational. You know, the whole country's going wild over this comedy movie. Like,
Well, Borat 2,
yeah,
maybe.
I guess.
That's
I guess
more
that
like
was probably-
shock humor, though. I don't know if it's. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not really like a scripted,
It's very. Yeah.
you know, plot-driven
When did
comedy
like
movie.
Bridesmaids come out?
Ooh, yeah, that's it. Yeah,
that might
that
be.
was past 2010. I think that was maybe 2012.
Yeah, sounds right.
Josh, 2011.
Mm.
All right.
Anyway.
So any movie before 2011 could not be made today. All right. But the jerk. I mean,
The Jerk. Question
Great
number
movie.
2. Answer to question number 2. Question number 3.
does the tree have a question?
You're so stingy today, Dan. Question number 3.
I know. I'm in a.
You're in a funk,
I'm in
bro.
Yes.
You look like your glasses today. Like you're acting like your glasses. You know, like his glasses are very serious. Today, Dan.
I was gonna go for pretentious.
Sure. That's the word I was thinking, but didn't want to say so.
No, you just gotta be just below, like mid
There
eye
you go.
level,
Perfect.
so I kind
Yes.
of look like a professor,
Angry professor.
Mm-hmm.
the nutty professor. Talking about bad comedy movies
Oh man.
that don't age well. If your music was a article of furniture.
Article.
Yeah, I don't know.
Piece
What's
of
a piece? Yeah, I guess I wanted a better word than piece. You know, there's got to be a
A
more
slab of
a slab of furniture,
A pallet.
a pallet of furniture, a
a
thicket,
type of furniture.
a type of furniture,
Maybe works. Anyway.
a category, a genre of furniture. All right, I'm done with this bit. You know the question. What furniture would it be?
Probably there was this very specific chair that back when I was a young college pup, I was and still am into thrifting and doing that. So, but I'd get weirder things thrifting. Now I get like vinyl, and basically that's all I get thrifting is vinyl, or if there's a cool instrument. But there's this old like yellow tweed recliner.
Tweed and
A
yellow.
tweed recliner.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just a beautiful chair. A little bit uncomfortable to sit in for long periods of time. Like the cushioning wasn't as
Up to
like
snuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was a little bit, worn in, and yeah, I had that up until I got married, and then that didn't fly.
Yellow tweed. Come
Yeah.
on.
That would go great right next to the mantle.
But I think my old roommate still has the chair.
Okay, good.
Nice.
So
So
it's still in the family.
Yeah, perfect.
But,
All right. Well, I think we got our three representative
things.
symbols, things,
Yes. All right, guys.
to represent the music. So we're gonna play the first song, and what you're going to do is think about enjoying this song with a nice hard cider from Apple True Winery, whilst sitting in a yellow tweed recliner chair, but not for too long. You can get up because it's
It's a little
warm.
uncomfortable. A
Yeah.
little uncomfortable.
Maybe you just have the recliner in view,
Yes.
just for the art
Aesthetic.
piece, the aesthetic. And shoot, what was the other question?
Watching them.
Oh yeah, and you're watching the jerk in
The
the
jerk.
background. The jerk is playing in the background. So,
Yes.
with all that in your head,
That aesthetic.
we now present to you this song, insert song here, by Ryan Burns. What song are we starting off with?
Let's start off with the music video song, which is Hey Navigator.
Let's do it. You're listening to Hey Navigator on the Underbelly Hours in my
his basement.
basement.
Hey navigator, in your green jumpsuit, walking round the corner, are you lonely too? I said, hey navigator, standing in the tall grass, tell me, are you getting somewhere? Are you getting there fast? I said, hey navigator, with your sleeve tattoo, walking round the city in your white pants and shoes. Are the buildings fascinating? Should I save you from this man? Or am I part of the problem? I know that I am. Oh, we're all lost and the lost will not be found. The land and sea will hear our mournful sound. What I found. I said, hey navigator, how you doing in this heat? Assaulting with your guitar, clutter in the streets. I know you wanna play the blues, man. Well, so does everybody else. I see you navigate that G scale and the fear that's in your chest. Oh, we're all lost and the lost will not be found. The land and sea will hear our mournful sound. What I found. Hey navigator, will you answer for your deeds? Sailing in your tall ships while you subjugate the meek. You know you're not the only sailor. No, we're all out on this sea. Got your suit and tie on tight now. Is this all you wanna be? Oh, we're all lost and the lost will not be found. The land and sea will hear our mournful sound. What I found. Oh, and we're all lost and the lost will not be found. The land and sea will hear our mournful sound. What I found.
All right, nice. So that was Hey Navigator, which, by the way, if you didn't already know, has a really fun music video that you should check out on YouTube. Or under the Ryan Burns channel. Is your YouTube channel just called Ryan Burns or Burns Band, potentially?
Ryan Burns and the Vocal Ghost.
I think it's Ryan Burns and the Vocal Ghost at this point.
Okay.
If it's not, I'm gonna go immediately and change it.
Okay.
Because it should have been that.
Fair enough. So you can find it under that channel. It is one of the... Well, I was going to say it's one of my favorite songs off the album, but honestly, I was thinking about it, and with each time that I listen through the album, I just get more and more, like, favorite songs.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's like all of them are my favorite song
100%.
on the album. So I guess let's get started with the obvious, which is the uniting factor between all the songs on the album, and also the thing that you're kind of known for is your banjo. You don't really see a whole lot of people in our area playing the banjo. It's a little bit of a unique instrument, so I thought we could maybe start there. You know, how did you get involved with this kind of more unique instrument?
So like many young folks, 10 years ago or something, in the heyday of your Mumford & Sons, Avett Brothers.
Okay, yeah.
I was drawn into the dark arts of the banjo. But no, me and my friend wanted to start a band, and we're like, let's do a folk band, and neither of us knew how to play banjo, and so we both kind of tried to learn, and I
You came out on top.
You went out.
I won the banjo contest. But yeah, so I started with that, and then just kind of kept diving deeper and deeper into banjos and bluegrass and like different banjo players, and now it's my favorite instrument.
Was
That's
the
awesome.
Catalyst?
I was
Sorry.
just gonna say the Catalyst. Get out of my head!
You get out of my head. Catalyst? Was it like Mumford & Sons then, or was it some
More the
other sort of-
Avett Brothers.
Okay.
Yeah. The better band, in my opinion.
Me too. Yeah.
I think that's no contest. Yeah.
Yeah, especially
Recently. Anyways.
Oof. Hot takes.
Yeah, so Avett Brothers. So like Scott Avett has a pretty unique banjo style that's like not really bluegrass Scruggs playing. Since then, like I've practiced all the bluegrass stuff, but every time I play anything live, the Scott Avett influence just comes right out.
Nice.
Takes over.
My Catalyst question was actually a little different. My question was the banjo, the catalyst for you getting into more of like bluegrass and other banjo types of music. Like, were you interested in all that before, or was it really just kind of primarily Avett Brothers and Mumford, and then you started playing the banjo, and it's like, oh, let's dive
Open up
deeper.
the world.
Yeah, did it open the world up to you?
Yeah, that was like gateway drug into into more banjo, and I think so. So I really love the Avett Brothers, and still one of my favorite bands. Then I think around the early 2010s, pretty much every folk adjacent band was some sort of family theme in their name, and so I was like, oh, look at the Punch Brothers. And yeah, so got obsessed with the Punch Brothers, and those are all like great bluegrass players in their own right, and so I got obsessed with Noam Pikelny, and then once I started to try to learn banjo, I was like, every person was just like, first you gotta learn Earl Scruggs, and so I listened to Earl Scruggs, and yeah.
What's, out of curiosity, what is your favorite style of picking up the banjo? Because I know there's a bunch of different techniques. Earl Scruggs is obviously the pioneer of the most well-known style, but what do you prefer to do when you're playing?
So my playing now is, not to get too banjo nerdy into this, but
Oh no, let's go full.
Yeah,
full banjo nerd.
Yeah.
So
let's do it. We're educational as well, this podcast.
So yeah, there's
Kind of.
there's a few main kind of parts of the banjo world. There's the clawhammer, which is old time music, which actually, if you trace it back, comes from slave music, coming from Africa, and like a combination of lots of different instruments. Then the bluegrass three-finger style kind of came much later, and that sort of style, it was a big combination of a lot of different music, but Earl Scruggs is considered like the pioneer of that style, using three fingers and finger picks and playing really fast and incorporating some bluesy.
Was the clawhammer just like two fingers?
Clawhammer,
just one kind of.
You brush with
plectrum?
The back of your nails, and then you pluck with your thumb. So it like it's a really interesting, unique sort of. Well, not quite unique. Like I said, there's instruments in Africa where they use very similar techniques. But yeah. But with bluegrass banjo, then there's also three main kind of offshoots. There's Scruggs, which is like
the fast stuff. And...
well, it's all fast. It's bluegrass.
Right.
But there's Scruggs, which is sort of like your Deliverance. It's like what you think of. There's this kind called melodic style, where you play like these melodic runs where you're trying to like basically imitate a fiddle melody. And then there's a single string, which is like kind of almost like flat picking a guitar, but you have finger picks on. But I like the melodic style. And so yeah.
Does the single string kind of like have a tremolo effect? Like, are you kind of aiming for just kind of like one string type melodies that?
It's more like you're doing one at a time. So when you're flat picking your like a guitar, you go up one string at a time. With Scruggs, you're like rolling through multiple strings at once, or melodic style too. Where
Gotcha.
like single string, you're doing like one string and you're kind of going around.
Yeah.
So the scales make a lot more sense for other instrumentalists. But that's Bela Fleck came along and did crazy stuff with single string and blew the banjo world wide open, and now it's Wild West of banjo again.
That's super cool.
Well, that's exciting. And did you just kind of like teach yourself along the way, and then did you have a mentor?
Yeah, so
master.
I taught myself for.
I like that.
Yeah, taught myself mostly, and like I can't remember times pre-pandemic. 3 years ago, 2 years ago, I started doing some lessons at the Old Town School of Folk Music with now his name is escaping me. But yeah, I took like lessons for like 6 months. I wanted to get better at kind of playing more traditional bluegrass, just to get better at that. And the name's gonna come back to me at some point, and I'm just gonna shout it out.
Yeah.
Just so if I say a name out of nowhere, that's why. He's now I can't even remember what band he's in. Damn.
Well,
we'll come
let's
back
talk
to
about
it.
we'll go back to it.
But
So when did is the band that you started way back when, and the inspiration of Mumford and Sons and the Abbott Brothers, is that the band that turned into Ryan Burns and the Vocal Ghosts, or when did that journey
Begin.
Yes.
Yeah. So no, that band, we were a band called Distant Brothers.
Keeping that family thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Good marketing.
And yeah, we were together up until now. We're still maybe do some remote recording, but right now all of them just moved within like 3 months of each other. All moved away from the city, so that's gonna be a bit harder. But yeah, again, 2-ish years ago, who knows? Time, is weird.
Oh yeah.
I did a solo EP called The Institute. That was songs based off of art at the Art Institute. And I wanted to have a band to play with for the release show. And so I kind of found a drummer on Craigslist, asked a friend for recommendations for a bassist, knew a guy who was a guitarist, and got together and
Punched it out.
Nice.
played, and I was like, I like this band thing. And so then 6 months later was starting the process of recording Static Ear, and yeah.
Nice. And where did the Vocal Ghosts part come from? Because I just think that's a really
It's
cool...
a really cool name.
name.
For a folkish band
Yeah.
as well. Like,
It
that's
has
really
such a cool
nice.
vibe to it.
Yeah. So it's actually a line from Toni Morrison's Beloved. Not in the actual book, in her intro to one of the editions I was reading, she did her own foreword to it. And there was one part where she wrote, the house was haunted by extremely vocal ghosts. And
So cool.
I have my little notebook or notes in my phone of I found some cool words today.
Right.
I'll use them in a song. And then I was thinking of band names, and that came up. And I was like, I think that works.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Well, before we... Then, I feel like next we'll dive a little bit deeper into the album. Before we do that, let's maybe play another song off of it.
Yeah, let's do
Is
so.
that a swell idea, Adela?
I think that's a fantastically swell idea. Let's do something that shows off your banjo a little bit. What song do you think from the album is one that you're super proud of your banjo work on?
Probably. Ooh, I like what I did in. Man, I'm terrible with names. Mistakes Were Made.
Okay.
That's the one.
That's a great song.
Yes.
Oh, nice one. All right. You're listening to Mistakes Were Made by Ryan Burns and the Vocal Ghosts on the Underbelly Hours.
In my basement.
There's an itching in my skin, a vibration in my bones. And if I sit still, I think I might explode. But if I tell you all my problems, you'll just laugh in my face. It's a corrugated lie, it's a flimsy truth. And I really wish I had a little picture of you, so I could practice all my lines, and hell, I'd practice yours too. Mistakes were made, a lie of fate, the bonds we break. I'm always late, oh call my bluff, I'm not so tough, I've had enough. The song's not about love. There's a pile of bricks where the bike shop was. There's a man who makes it worse with everything that he does. And if I told you that man was me, well, how surprised would you be? This elevator's packed. Let's just take the stairs. I'd rather take a walk with somebody who cares. 'Cause who needs a box full of strangers? I still got this box of regrets. Oh, mistakes were made, the lie of fate, the bonds we break. I'm I tend to do better when it's some kind of test. But it won't be my fault when this all blows up in your face. Oh, mistakes were made, the lie of faith, the bonds we break. I'm always late, oh call my bluff, I'm not so tough, I've had enough. This song's not about love, mistakes were made, the lie of faith, the bonds we break. I'm always late, oh call my bluff, I'm not so tough, I've had enough. This song's not about love.
All right, cool. Let's talk a little bit about the album because it's fantastic. As we both have said previously on the podcast too, this is just like a really well put together album. There's a lot of really great tracks, and Dan is going to show a visual to the class. Wow!
Have
Look
it right
at
here.
that. It's a pretty vinyl. Show them the vinyl too, like the record itself.
It's in the sleeve.
Do you want to?
I know I'm playing dumb.
Okay. It's got a nice golden tinge, yellow tinge. Look at that. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I love that vinyl's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
I love having something like tangible in my hands.
You have to bring it back further.
Really nice artwork too, you know.
Yeah, whatever.
It's cool stuff. So anyway, Static Year is what it's called because it was released in a static year, 2020, a year where kind of both felt like a million years and like 5 seconds in one.
Mm-hmm.
Curious, when did, you mentioned that you got together with your band, you started playing some stuff, but on the timeline, I imagine you didn't really have that much time before 2020 hit as a band, right? Because you guys really started playing a lot in 2019 or so.
Mm-hmm.
What was the process like recording this record? Was it all finished before pandemic measures hit, or did you have to finish some of it during quarantine?
Yeah, we finished almost all of the recording before the pandemic, like in January and February of 2020. I think the last session we had with someone coming in, I think to do keys or trumpet or something, was like right at the beginning of March, like in the uncertain times. Like what's going on, guys?
Right.
And we just got that in under the wire, and then the mixing and kind of production side of things took a bit longer because of that, obviously, but got all the recording done just under the wire.
Yeah, so it was the goal from the get-go then to release a long 15-track album.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Why the choice of so many tracks? Because I totally thought this was something like, pandemic, might as well throw on like some extra songs we have in the back burner and just release it. Got
I
a little
love
extra
longer
time.
albums.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do too. But they're they're definitely less common nowadays, I would say. The EP is much more common, and when people release an album, it's like 9 songs. Unless it's a
Usually,
concept
like,
album.
yeah, I feel like the standard for a long time was 10.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you got 11 if you were lucky, but I mean, one of my favorite bands was the Chili Peppers, and they would always have like 18 songs. Like ever since Blood Sugar Sex Magic, it was like, yeah, let's throw 18. Oh yeah, this one has 20, and like 15.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, give me more.
So it's really great for the fans, right? But it's still a little bit more of a unique choice. So why did you guys decide to go with a longer formatted album?
Mostly I just had a lot of songs.
Fair.
And so my songwriting style, at least lately, has been I'll just write like way too many, like 100 songs, and be like, okay, which ones of these? And you just gotta narrow it down. And me and Will Phelan, who was the guy who produced the album, we were just sat there listening to my little voice memos for like hours just being like, okay, not that one, not that one. Okay, maybe this one, maybe that. And then it was... So eventually we narrowed it down to that 15.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, actually, at the time, I think it was 13, and there a couple got added during the process.
Right.
Like the song Static Here, I wrote while lying in bed, like, after we had already tracked most of the other things. I was like, this song needs a title track.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very anxious and wrote a song in my head.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I think that's the way to go, in my opinion. And I think it shows more like the artist does have a passion and a love for the music and just writing, and because there are some bands that kind of they may even have a hard time getting up to 10 songs as like the standard, and once they get like 10 solid songs, it's like, all right, that's it, cool, let's record and get it out there. But I feel like a lot of the really like golden songs come from bands and artists that they have so much to choose from, and they're actually like narrowing it down, finding the best of the best instead of just kind of
going with whatever first comes into mind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really important thing. Also, just in general, I think it's interesting that... Dang it!
It's in the air.
It's in the air still, hopefully. We're talking about albums, and long ass albums, and albums that we love. We love long ass albums. We love long ass albums.
Yeah, some artists just like,
Right.
you know, just they write the 10 songs for the album and that's it, and then they print and produce and whatever. But I mean, the more you write, obviously you're just also going to become a better songwriter. The more you do it, the more, like, you know, if you're only writing 10 songs each time for an album, then I mean, how much are you actually growing album to album?
I also say what I was going to say. I found my train of thought is that I think it's really cool when you are a super prolific songwriter and you're able to narrow it down later for a couple of tracks for an album. It's a more accurate representation too of what your creative process and what your like emotions and just musical style is at a certain given point in time. I think as well, instead of just like making some songs, you're like, oh my god, we only have 8 songs, let's fill up the album quick, someone make 2 songs to fill up the rest of the album. You know, maybe you were trying to tailor your writing to a style that is not necessarily genuine to you. You just wanted to do it so you have the product and put it out there. I love long albums like these because it really does feel like you get a glimpse into the person's mind, creative mind, of where they are this year, and then, you know, 2 years down the line, again, a snapshot in time of what their styles are and maybe what's going on in their life and everything.
And then there's my favorite part of prolific songwriters is that you get plenty of B-sides for the fandom to go crazy over. I mean, most of my favorite bands, my favorite songs by them are B-sides.
That's actually true, yeah.
And I think that, you know, the band never knows, and the record label or whoever produces it, signs them, whatever, they don't know what's going to be people's favorite songs, and it might be a song that they didn't actually put on the album. You never know. So I love when those other like cut tracks do see the light of day. You never know how people are going to react to something that you wrote.
And it's really fun. And I was just kind of trying to think about themes a little bit while listening to this album too. There's a lot about traveling is one of the things that I noticed a lot. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it does feel like there's a lot of like roaming, whether it's physical roaming,
The vagabond.
or like
character.
exploration, you know, internal exploration. Was that an intentional choice, or was that something that just, you think, came out of the specific time period that you were writing these songs in?
This is where the therapy session starts.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I write about that a lot. By the way, segue. That's not segue.
Side
Tangent.
note?
Greg Cahill from Special Consensus was a banjo teacher. But yeah, end up writing a lot about traveling. I think part of it, at least for this one, when I was writing for this album, I was doing a lot of like I was doing a good amount of touring, and just driving a lot to go to shows, and another part of my writing process, besides just writing way too many songs, is when I'm driving, like a big long, like 4-hour drive, I'll be sitting in the car and like I'll see something and a line will pop in my head or like a fun phrase, and I'm driving though, and so I just have it like in my head, but usually by the end of like between gas stops or something, I'll have like 5 lines. I'm like, okay, remember this one, green table and asphalt junkie, and just random phrases. And if you could listen inside my head, I'm just like repeating 5 phrases over and over again in my head.
Sound like an insane person.
Yeah. But yeah, so a lot of like the little note app things I write down, because of that, tend to be like travel themed. And for whatever reason, a lot of my writing tends to lean towards that thematically, I guess.
Yeah, so you write a lot of like lyrical ideas on your drives. Right? So you don't like, is there long stretches of time where you're just like turning off the radio and just let the mind wander? Because that's pretty cool. Like, I feel like there is something that's kind of inspiring, or maybe not, well, yeah, both inspiring and like meditative too, of just kind of focusing on the road. Everything keeps passing by you. It kind of puts you in this little like open headspace. There's not many things for your mind to like latch onto, really. So it kind of picks up on random things and goes off at tangents that way. Is that kind of
your usual process?
I kind of like I usually have a little bit of variety, like sometimes podcasts, or sometimes I'll listen to music, sometimes I'll just not have anything on. But I think what changed, at least in the whole driving and writing process, is for a long time, whenever I was driving, I really liked singing and driving. And then as I started playing more and more shows, I realized that it was destroying my voice.
Oh no.
Like belting at the top of my lungs while driving. I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. Maybe a little bit if I really like a song, but so that freed up myself to think a bit more.
And you mentioned touring. Were you on tour with, which act were you on tour with?
So mostly solo touring. So the Vocal Ghosts was pretty new. Like we had. So the first official show was the Vocal Ghosts, I think, was like September of 2019, and then so we had like 6 months or something, and so we hadn't had really time to tour together. We'd done, I think, just all city shows, so that was touring solo, mostly just kind of, which gives you extra time to just sit and think, because there's no one else around to distract you.
Where did you go, out of curiosity?
I mostly kind of Midwest, like Wisconsin, Missouri. I think I went to Nashville, Indiana, Michigan. Minnesota? Maybe Iowa.
Minnesota.
But yeah, basically like, Midwest.
Minnesota, eh? Yeah. Minnesota. Nice. Did you notice that were there any audiences in specific places that were more receptive to your banjo and like, I want to say banjo music, but it's not banjo music, right? It's
there's so much more to your songwriting.
It's like folk
banjo.
With banjo in it, and it's not even always folk. Sometimes it's just more pop. Sometimes it's a little more rockish elements.
Yeah.
But did you notice any particular audience, like state-wise, that seem to be a little bit more like engaging, interacting with you? Just because again, from my experience, I haven't seen too many in Chicagoland and Chicago proper bands with like an emphasis on banjo,
Right.
especially not a solo artist with an emphasis on banjo.
I don't know if there's any specific like state that was more receptive. I'm always a little bit self-conscious about like the banjo part, and like every time when I switch from guitar to banjo in a set, I have my little like, this is what everyone's been waiting for, the banjo, trying to get people excited about it.
Right.
But I think like every time I feel nervous about like, are people gonna like the banjo? People like don't hate the banjo.
No.
It's just we're all just neurotic about us banjo players are just sensitive.
Right, because there is like a little bit of a stereotype still, I think, even despite people like Bela Fleck completely destroying the world of banjo and like innovating it, there's still, I think, a stereotype of like banjo with, like really, really old American folk music, like deep, deep, deep South stuff that people don't want to listen to, which needs to stop. Y'all, open your minds a little bit. Expand.
Steve Martin plays the banjo.
Steve Martin plays the
really well.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I don't know because I don't
No,
listen to
he's
that much
very-
banjo,
He
but
plays pretty well.
he seems
pretty
like he
sure
really
he's
knows
like
what he's
he won a
doing.
Grammy for his
For banjo, yeah. And he also like
Album,
has
The Crow.
awards now, like yearly award for like banjo players, young up and coming banjo
I
players.
love Steve Martin.
He's a good guy.
It makes sense now. The jerk. You know,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all coming back to the banjo.
Nice. So yeah, lots of touring with your banjo. Let's talk a little bit more about your collaborators, because I think we've been talking a lot about the banjo still and how this album's coming about and stuff. So you start writing by yourself, but in this group, is there like, are you still like the predominant songwriter? Do you finish all the songs, or is the songwriting process more of a collaborative action on behalf of all the different members of the band?
Do you hum all the parts to the other members?
Yeah, like you
Like,
play
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very whiplash. They have to play my
I
tempo.
figured.
um,
No Russians or dragons.
but yeah, so it's with so up until like the album, it was pretty much I wrote all the songs completely, but I try not to like write anybody else's part. And my whole policy with the band is just like, you're better at bass or drums or guitar or whatever. That's why I have you. That's why I want you in the band. So you come up with a thing. And if it's really terrible, I'll tell you. But
Yeah.
it's never really terrible. They're all very good.
Right.
Now that we're trying to start to get things back going post-pandemic, trying to I mean, I'm still the primary songwriter, but trying to be a bit more collaborative in the putting things together, get a bit more input on certain elements.
It's almost surprising to hear you say, though, that everyone has a lot of free reign, because there's a lot of different layers to these songs. There's a lot of stuff going on. Like, for some reason, Maria popped into my head. One of the first things, there's like piano, there's some fun like slide guitar, there's like, it sounds like there's like castanets or something in the background too, or some sort of more like harsh percussion that's not drum set.
Yeah, so another thing with Static Year, so while I was touring back in like June of 2019, I, on a whim, really wanted a drum machine for whatever reason.
Okay.
And so whenever I want a new instrument or something, I'll sit for like 2 months just like looking on Craigslist and Googling like 1970s drum machines and learning all about the different ones, and I found for a real good price this drum machine called a Maestro Rhythm King that was made by Gibson in like the late 60s, early 70s.
Whoa,
and it's one of those
nice.
drum machines, nice colorful front, and it was actually the cover for the Electric Drummer. That's what Electric Drummer is about, actually, also.
That's one of my favorite songs, honestly. And it just had such a cool twist to it with the electronic aspect. Anyways.
But yeah, so I got that drum machine. It's one of those that has just pre-programmed beats. And they're all just hilarious what beats they decided to put on it. Because, like, I think there's 14 beats, maybe 16. About half of them are all, like, Latin beats. Which, it's great. They're, but just and there's, like, one rock beat. Apparently, like, late 60s, like, we think, like, rock took over, but the people with the money, I guess, were still like, no, we want to listen to, like, lounge music. And that was, like, just as big as the Beatles for most of the people. But, so, and then all these, like, weird, like, swing beats and, like, a Western one that's, but anyway, so a lot of those songs kind of started as, me just playing with the drum machine, and so that's Maria. I think that one is so you could also push down two beats at once and they kind of combine. Some are just end up really weird, but Maria, I think, is salsa and bossa nova combined. Nice. We might have added a third one in post-production.
So this is on the track, the drum machine.
Yeah, the drum machine, some extra little percussion, like a clave we added on there or something.
That's what how many tracks on here are with the electric drum machine?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3. So I think it's all...
Because that's pretty cool.
All but 4.
Nice.
Or all but, so 10 out of the 15.
Wow. Would have never guessed, honestly. That's so incredible.
Yeah, so it's kind of layered in there and then actual drums on top of it, usually. So some of them are more obvious, like Electric Drummer.
Right.
But then some, like Maria, it's like mixed in.
Very
kind
well,
of.
Now, did you write those songs like with the drum track playing first, and then you kind of came up with ideas on top of it? Because I feel like, that is a fun way to kind of switch up your songwriting process, is if you kind of get a rhythm first that you have to, play over and come up with counter rhythms on your melodic instrument, rather than just kind of freestyling without a set rhythm in mind.
It was a combination. Sometimes it was like, what's this sound like? And then I'd play some guitar or a banjo part. Some of them, like, I had a song, I was like, you know what, this needs
electric drummer.
Yeah, this needs bolero is what it needs. But yeah, and earlier in my songwriting days, it was always like I would do like instrumental part first and then write words, but with this it was kind of mix and match. Some were, I have these words, now I try to figure out lyrics. Somewhere this is a fun drum beat. Some were just like, oh, I have a cool, like, I think Mistakes Were Made, I think, started just with like a boom 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 boom. Yeah, I was like, that sounds fun, let's go with that.
Let's play Electric Drummer. I think that's the most like out there track on the album. I think really fun to just throw it on and have people contrast the songs that were played before with like Electric Drummer, just to show the diversity on this album.
Mm-hmm.
So here's Electric Drummer by Ryan Burns and Vocal Ghosts. You're listening to the Underbelly Hours.
In my basement.
Walking through the streets, why is there so much heat every summer? Dancing on the side, the broken beats of my electric drummer. I've got a brand new feeling, oh. And my mind is reeling, don't stop reeling, no. Bossa Nova's hip and I don't want to skip another number. Find the hottest hand, stick 'em in a band and take a runner. It's that same old feeling, the same old feeling, oh. And my mind is reeling, don't stop reeling, no. Give me one chance to blow your mind and I'll sing you to the floor in double 4 time. Folk songs make you think, but sometimes when you drink you need a stunner. Festivals of sound, nothing that's around will pull me under. Someone's calling my name. And I hope you're hearing the same. Give me one chance to blow your mind and I'll sing you to the floor in double 4 time.
Speaking of songs, all right, so the last one, Electric Drummer, fantastic. I want to bring up Red River because A, great tune. B, also your track for the NPR Tiny Desk contest. So can you explain to us, out of all the tracks on this album, you mentioned you have 15 here. You mentioned you write hundreds of songs. How did you narrow things down to Red River and you decided, this is the song that's going to be entered for NPR's Tiny Desk contest?
So I remembered at about 9 p.m. of the night that
No!
you had to enter. And at that point I couldn't bring in a band.
Right.
And we just moved into a new place and we're not we haven't really met the neighbors yet. And so I'm not gonna play a loud song at 9:30. And so pretty much made my decision for me. I was gonna play Red River.
Yeah.
So not the most inspiring story, just sort of this one is the one I have to do. But yeah, I mean, I love playing the song. It probably would have gotten consideration either way. But yeah, mostly just
because you were on a time
was,
crunch.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very, very last. I think I had 8 minutes left at the time that I.
Oh wow! 8 minutes
I
left.
finally put it in the form.
Dang. All right.
Very last minute.
Do you normally submit to the NPR Tiny Desk contest, or was this your first year?
This is the 3rd year.
Okay.
Yeah, we did. Mistakes were made for the last one. We had the band in my living room, and then I did one of those Art Institute songs for for the one before that.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I always love looking through the NPR Tiny Desk contest submissions every single year. It's so inspiring to see what people come up with, especially around Chicago. They have so much talent. And I feel bad, honestly, for the choosing committee for the NPR Tiny Desk contest, because they have to sort through so many good tunes. It's like ridiculously hard. But, you know, I kind of do want to touch on Red River again, because that is a more... Sure, you were on a time crunch, but that's also a little bit more of like a slow track. You know, it's not as upbeat as Hey Navigator or Maria or Head on the Desk and stuff. It feels a little bit more, I mean, it's mysterious. It's got that like really nice chord at the end of the chorus that I really love. And it feels a little bit more like direct and personal. Did this come from any sort of like personal story or personal struggle? Because it sounds like it's a little bit of a heavier tune on the album.
Yeah, so I wrote it, second song I'm talking about that I wrote lying in, well, I might have written after. I sometime in 2019, I think, I woke up at like 2 a.m. and I was just having a panic attack or anxiety attack or something. And like, I was just lying in bed and like I could feel my heart beating, and like I was just kind of like stuck there. I was like, what do I do? And for like 3-4 hours I was just like, very anxious and on edge, and and so I think once the sun came up and I got up out of bed, I went and wrote at least the first half of Red River, I think, right after that. And the Red River is, you know,
Blood.
Yeah. If you didn't pick up on that. But yeah, so like that, basically that whole song is just kind of talking about where I was mentally after that, and just that was, I think that was like on the tail end. I was like spent a year trying to look for a day job. I was thinking of trying to like cut back on music and go into a day job, and I was very anxious about it, and I'm very bad at applying for jobs, and whole year I got one phone interview.
Damn, that's
rough.
rough.
It was a bad year. That's actually the static year that the album title talks about. Well, that and the other part of static year was I had an old iPhone that the microphone was broken.
Okay.
And so every like voice memo or phone call I did, it was mostly static and you could like barely hear. So I had these voice memos of songs that were like and so that's actually where static year originally came from. It was this static, and I had that phone for a year before I finally got a new one.
Right.
That's cool. That's a fun backstory to that.
Well, it's, because like one, there's like a little bit more of a lighthearted one, like the phone literally you're not being able to make out things. But then static itself, you know, usually you correlate with like stagnant a little bit and like stuck, being stuck in a certain place. So I know that we talked a little bit about your songwriting process, like how you come up with ideas and stuff, but I'm curious because I know that everyone kind of has a little bit of a different approach to this. How often are the stories that you write about like personal to you, and how often are the things that you write about from an external person's point of view, like, oh, I've heard about this story I want to write about, or this squirrel's jumping up and down on my porch, I want to write about that, you know?
I mean, it's probably, I probably write more personally than I do writing like third person stuff. I mean, I guess I did do that, the whole EP of, you know,
Art Institute songs.
stuff.
Yeah.
But even when you're writing about like a painting, it, like anything you write has some part of your own story in it usually. Like it's impossible to completely divorce yourself from your own perspective. Yeah. So like in this album, I think almost all of them are personal. The only ones that aren't are like Electric Drummer, because that's just about a drum machine. There's no deeper meaning to Electric Drummer, guys. It's
sorry to break your heart. It's
literally just a fun song about the Maestro Rhythm King.
What a great name too, Michael.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh man.
All of the other ones are pretty autobiographical, except for Maria, which is just about nobody.
Yeah.
It's just about the name Maria. My wife does not like it.
You can
She's probably a little
see
biased
why,
towards
yeah.
her name.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that one. That one's fun though. It's got like a very fantastical kind of element to it. It's like, oh, like, you know, of course her name's Maria. Of course it's like a ship kind of thing, and like there's a dagger. Like, yeah, it's cool. It's fun, you know. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think, should we start wrapping it up now? Unless you have any more questions and stuff.
You know, that was really a whole lot of it. Oh, wait, I do want to ask you one more thing, because I love learning about history of music stuff, and I saw on your website you have an ethnomusicology degree.
I do.
What? Let's talk a little bit about that, because how has that influenced... Okay, first of all, why did you decide to go ahead and get an ethnomusicology degree? You don't meet too many people who do that. What was your inspiration for that?
So, mostly... I'm not entirely sure. I started as a physics major.
What?
In college.
Nice.
I was very good at math when I was younger. And I still like physics. It wasn't clicking with me. And I took a world music class, Intro to World Music 101 or whatever, as an elective. And I just, fell in love with it. And on a whim was like, I'm gonna do this for my entire major. And I went to the teacher of the class, was like, how do I do this? She was like, go talk to this person. And so went and got ethnomusicology degree. And maybe not the best financial decision.
I was actually going to ask about that, because I was reading a forum with a bunch of ethnomusicologists who were kind of arguing a lot about whether or not it's actually worth it to go get an ethnomusicology degree if you want to work in that field. Do you do any work in that field?
No, not really.
Okay.
I have friends who still do. But yeah, I mean, the ethnomusicology field is mostly, if you're sticking with it, you go to school for it, and then you go back to school for it, and then you teach it.
Right.
To
It's
more
very
people.
academic.
Yeah. And yeah, it's
How has it influenced your songwriting?
Oh, that's the...
Yeah.
Forgot that part of the question. I think it just taught me to... Well, one, like, as an undergrad, a big part of going to music school, even for ethnomusicology, is just learning theory and music history and all the things that any music major would have to do. And so I learned all that stuff, poorly probably, but at least good enough that, now I know like what a flat seventh chord is and things like that. So help me with that. But definitely kind of broadened my scope of what sort of music I listen to and enjoy and like know exists out in the world. And so like since then, and you can probably tell in my songwriting, I'm very scattered brained in terms of like my
You're
musical
eclectic.
influences.
There you go.
Yeah. And so yeah, I just will take deep dives into random genres and decide to write an album with a drum machine and play a bluegrass song right after a pop song. And so yeah, mostly it just kind of taught me kind of more of the range of what music is out there instead of just like the radio.
Yeah.
And so now I'm just kind of pulling in as many of those influences as I can.
Nice.
I think that plays into at least why I really like your sound, is that it is varied and very like it incorporates a lot of musical elements from different styles and whatnot. It just makes it really interesting and unique. And yeah, when there's so much music out there, it's stuff like that that kind of, in my opinion, sticks out, or at least a person like me latches onto, because it's not just the same indie pop, alt rock, emo. I'm not bashing those, kind of, but
You heard it here first. He's bashing them.
I'm bashing.
Right. Well, they already know that.
Yeah.
I will also say that's really done. The synthesis is done super well too.
Yes,
Because sometimes
right.
people try to do things like this,
And it doesn't.
exactly work out for them.
Yeah.
But you synthesize a lot of your ideas, like genre-wise, very well. And despite the fact that there's a lot of different types of genres on this album, you have a very distinctive voice, and your banjo playing is very distinctive. So it does have an element of cohesion as well, I think, to it. Which is why you guys should go check it out. It's a great album.
It's as synthesized as a hard cider and a yellow pine chair with the jerk playing in the background.
There you go. Hey, and with that, I think we should end the show, because that was beautiful, Dan. Look at that. You led us a full circle.
That's what I'm here for. That and my...
And your bald head.
Yep. Too.
We wouldn't be a podcast without somebody who's bald. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well,
there's a lot of...
We have no shot at being successful without the bald. There's plenty of podcasts, but I mean, until you
Get a
go
bald
bald,
man.
then you ain't really getting anywhere. You ain't getting that.
That's
Those
true.
$100 million deals from Spotify. You ain't getting that.
Mm-mm.
I'm the money right here, right?
Yeah.
It's all me.
And with that, thank you, Dan.
Please don't thank me.
Thank you, Ryan.
You're welcome. Thanks for having
Hopping
me.
on the show. Where can people stalk you and listen to all your great music?
So on all the social medias, at Burns Band, or my website's burnsband.com, or anywhere music is, Deezer, for all those Deezer listeners.
Title.
Yeah, but yeah, just look up Ryan Burns and the Vocal Ghosts.
Nice.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, thanks again. Everyone go straight to those pages. Like, follow, subscribe. Smash that like button.
That's right. And also be sure to RSVP on Facebook to our upcoming event, which is a Underbelly Hour Spotlight at Dry City. The
Yes.
third one.
Ryan played the first one.
He did. Very,
It was a
very well
great
as
set.
well. And we're going to have Spooky Boo, Demi Clara, and Nick Weisner. Okay. That guy.
And if I mess
Really
that
great.
up, I apologize.
That's why it looks like it's Weisner. So, Nick, you're great. Go check that out. RSVP. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Come on out. It's going to be a great time. It's free. Great beer.
Dry City Brew Works in Wheaton. They got the best bevs for the best
People.
revs.
Revs?
So if you're a reverend, you need a bev. Rev with a bev. I mean, it kind of works. It's in Wheaton.
Bev with a rev?
Post-sermon.
Yeah,
bev,
yeah. You need
that's
that
true.
post-sermon
Bev?
bev with your rev.
Honestly,
Father, can I get you a wine?
that's actually pretty good.
Father, can I get you this wonderful beverage they have on tap? It's
Can
called
I
the
get
blood
you-
of our enemies.
Shall we go on a crusade?
To Hellas and back. Would you like a to Hellas and back, Father?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, go check it out.
They might
And
prefer the Providence.
That's
It's a much more reserved stout.
That's true. And also be sure to follow us on all the social media pages, The Underbelly Hours, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, and also on oxchicago.com, a Chicago-based podcasting platform, which is fantastic, and you guys should all check out. I think that's the show, right?
Yes.
You're Dan.
And you're Adela.
And this has been another episode of the Underbelly Hours.
In my basement. Bye.
Are you tired of listening to the same bands over and over again?
Over and over.
Stop listening to what mainstream media chooses for you
You filthy casual.
and try something new. Tune in to the Underbelly Hours every Sunday night at 6 p.m.
On WRSE 88.7 FM.
for exclusive interviews, unreleased content, and more from the depths of Chicago's underground. I'm Adela.
I'm Dan.
Take off your coat and stay a while.
Now available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or anywhere you stream your podcast, thanks to Ox Audio, a Chicago-based podcasting platform.